All right. Good morning, crew. I mean, that's what I wish you. I don't think this will be pretty subject matter. Um. It won't. Uh. I guess to get it out of the way. Um. In my last video, in case I appear to place too much blame on the men in those girls' personal lives, I know nothing of them. I don't mean to. My bad. If that's the case, if that's what I appear to do. But it's really all the anti-whiteism and the white negatives who I said were in the way, which tomato, um, they all want to harm white people. This neighborhood that I find myself in. Okay, I heard I'm gonna rape your bitch twice, like through the confines of my house, and I did me some pacing and thinking and got mad and went outside, said you wouldn't say a fucking thing to me, put my shoes on, took a block, looking for some shit starter that I could finally get some release on. And, when I finish my round, I hear yet more shit. I'm pretty sure I'm being called skinhead in the distance. But see, I can never catch these people's ass. I know that if I walk over to where I heard it from, I will receive only hiding and retreat. This is how it's always gone. This is how it is out here. This is how they do me. Even though they're white, even though everyone is so asleep to anti-whiteism out here, it is like nothing like the UK. We don't have invaders. We don't have people concerned that they're going to be white erased. I don't see, trannies in advertisement and, like when I see dyed hair, it's at Walmart. Like, this is not something commonly it can be in their awareness, but they're not very conscious of it at all. But yeah, the people in this neighborhood, you would have thought they were just regular ass junkies, lower class people, middle class people, what have you. Whatever there is out here, I'm not out trying to analyze the demographics because all I need to know is that they're anti-white. I have received disgusting threats from them the whole time I've been here. Very, very feminine games have been played. A lot of hiding and retreat involved on their part. And so I can't just catch somebody's ass. I can't just let somebody have it, when that's how they move. It's never going to be directly. Nobody's coming at you with their sword out, like I don't have that luxury. Like I used to have. They don't do it the old way. Is another way to put it. Well, when I grew up, they did. Yeah. Helped, helped while they were still doing it that way. And now I just, yeah. So I went to sleep pretty pissed off last night because I only didn't take the next block where I heard skinhead coming from, because I figured that I would have to act some kind of way, be loud all the way there to provoke somebody, and then on the world stage I'll have done something to my face, like I'll have made myself appear some way, like perhaps I am part of some wrongdoing that's taking place. You know, the I mean, the good guys are never watching out here. They're not around. Uh, I mean, the white positive, the people who will resist white guilt given the opportunity. And they threaten to do what anti-whites do. They threaten to do as the anti-white invaders do, to become just as much of a problem, just as serious of a problem for us. And, I'm not trying to understate it in the least. They have a real sickness to themselves that they relish and revel in the destruction of Western kind. And you would have just thought this was, the more poor part of a country ass town through any other lens. Someone who doesn't feel obligated to stand up for white people and do so openly, like, do so loudly at times. Really am ready to show my ass, ready to proceed on whatever I feel needs done. And what needs done is always a trap, just like the girl showing her rapist or would-be rapist her blades. I just think he didn't want to go through the difficulty. I don't think he felt incapable of still raping her. He was just mad that it was going to be even the slightest bit more difficult than the other girls, and so he just called the police on her. Obviously, that's what happened. But these, I mean, they want to do as they do, and they will be just as cowardly as was the anti-white, non-white piece of shit pedophile invader who dared to, like, still, if I even get on the subject, just how much he knows he's the one in control just because he's non-white. It's, and everybody knows that there is an anti-white social morality being enforced upon us, whether we accept it or not. It is not only out there, but it's also enforced by the system. Like, we all know that. The regime, the anti-white regime. I want to make sure I'm using proper terms here because, the terminology is everything. Because I exposed these anti-whites around me for who and what they are, they're only more angry with me and will connive and do cowardly shit. Like, that's all they have time for in life. That's the last neighbors I had. But, I made the mistake of thinking it was a problem of being around non-whites at the last place I had lived. Clearly, they want to go just as far as the non-white anti-whites, the white anti-whites. See, when you have white anti-whites, plural, one is pretty manageable, you spill their cup onto the world stage, and who are they going to go to if people are operating on a social moral imperative that humanizes and or protects whites? what could one anti-white do in the midst of all that? But I'll just have you know, when you get around whites, there's a lot of anti-whiteism left to go around. Um, it's just very serious. I just need people to know it's out there because I'm the one forced to live in it every day, and it it makes me angry when perhaps I ought to just be doing my own thing, but I have to fight for my mind and uh, take steps to make sure that I'm programming my mind with more powerful and true programming than whatever is being directed at me. Um, but it's anti-whiteism is just so much a part of society. It is increasingly, I'm hearing that there's nowhere to go to. No shit. You know, I'm I'm right between the towns I grew up in and another town I've kept hearing about because whites wanted to communalize and be together as whites. Um, I, you know, this is going to be way off people's radar when they learn about anti whiteism. Their local areas that I know are anti white, you know, and it's me telling people about this is met with a lot of unfair skepticism, you know, just denial that it could be so dangerous out here or that that these places around me and where I am now, like these places are anything other than anti-white, like, or no, that these places are anything other than their delusion that humanity will prevail over the anti-white narrative and the anti-white programming. I don't see it prevailing. You know, I don't see the God is what's going on outside of myself. In that one, I perfectly believe. Uh, but the rest of it, you know, that's not really my field or concern. You know, I like to know the mythologies, and that's super cool. But you know, there is clearly no God. Is what I'm getting at, kind of. There's, but like, it's maddening. It's maddening the way your friends and family can deny the anti-whiteism you observe and share with them. Like, and these are not necessarily people who want to harm whites or even you, but you know, it's it's only because they don't face the anti-whiteism, they don't have to acknowledge it the way I've had to, the way I've had no choice but to combat it and, you know, um, confront, combat, and dispel CCD. Having to CCD it so much to protect my mind and my growth, you know, the sense of what I'm about. And, you know, it can get like that. I need people to know it can get like that because I don't want it to just be useless that I suffer living here. that it's like jail. It's just not one's real life, and you don't want to be there, and you have people not controlling anything about themselves. Um, they're not controlling their mouths. It's always in your ear, you know. Um, it's just like jail, just, I do get to see some nature in life. Uh, but yeah, those, I wanted to tell you all that because I'll be damned if all this is for nothing. That all I get done is the things I'm used to getting done, or, you know, already know I can do, on top of defending my mind. Uh, and making sure to let myself know, this outside experience outside of myself, this has nothing to do with something I'm doing wrong, something I'm just not getting or doing. I've, it is futile to try to engage with these anti-whites. That is not how they move. Like actual, for sure, engagement with you, especially if you've stood your ground, even half of like I have, um, then the thing they're not going to do is engage with you directly. Like that, you can count on every time. But if you have anti-white tribunals living around you, and they know that you don't meet their anti-white criteria for being able to leave you the fuck alone, and then what, you're just the one abiding by law and getting shat on for it, like, you know, being told you're weak and all kinds of shit if you even go to sleep. And I don't like to put my disgusting ass life on blast. What's disgusting about it? Um, that, you know, I kind of think that'd be shameful. Or, just giving too much to it. Like I said, it's not one's real life. I mean, that this, like jail, that this environment you're in, at least, is not necessarily a product of you. You may have ended up there, but, you know, there are also the people in there who it's like they're born to be there. It's like their purpose is the things you hear in there. You hear disgusting threats in jail too. You you hear people saying all the craziest shit, not controlling their mouths, and nobody has any self-control anymore. That's not their concern, and at least I can tell you people about it, because, like, trying to tell my family absolutely sucks. Like, they don't want to let go of their delusion about these places that are around me and that where I live. Like, they just, you know, like, the extent to which they do listen and believe me is not nearly enough for me, or openly believe me. Just just admit that I'm telling the truth, like that's how it gets to with my dad. And, you know, I, uh, I really didn't know what I wanted to do today, Not that I didn't think about some things, but I had to do something, and like, gosh, I'm taking up so much of the time. I've taken up so much of the time talking about um, why I'm here, why why it's hell here. But you know, if you need any good news, it is so much different when I just get off of this block. When I go to public, people are a lot more decent and respectful. Um, but it's not very far to go before the environment is a lot different. But that'll never be enough, right? Because anti-whites go to public too. I don't have them like it's just not near as bad out there as it is in here. Not nearly. But you know, the parts of being here that look decent, that look like things are just moving along smoothly. Um, there's this pocket of anti-white degeneracy and anti-white tribunals and anti-white terrorism here, directed at me. And, you know, because I showed my ass and I was supposed to. I was supposed to loudly stand up for whites. But now it shouldn't be something you have to live down, but, you know, it just, everything changed. I just saw everyone's true colors out here. And they're never done showing me their true colors. And it ain't white, it's not Western. And, you know, it's that we have to live like this in every country. Like, it's that there is so much anti whiteism in more than one anti white. Like, it won't matter how anti white one is if we had a people, if we had racially a people. And so that's why I had to take a step back from my position on there being no real men in the lives of Lola and Maya. They certainly weren't present when she could have used their help the most, but I just don't know. I don't know their situation, what they had going on that they couldn't have known, and couldn't have done anything at the time. I But I do feel like she probably tried to tell people, just like I tried to tell people about the anti-whiteism, and we, you have to take it seriously. Like it's not enough to know that anti-whiteism is a serious threat, but just some people they can't face it. They can't face the reality that the life is treating them perhaps all right and or certainly all right, and it's not to you. Like, you know, it's better that um I don't know. It's better for them to preserve their delusion as their attitude. They're not the ones having to deal with what you have to deal with. So they they don't even um I don't know how to put it. It's just disgusting. It's really disgusting to tell people you feel free to open up to. I'm talking about my family, but it's really disgusting to. It's super disgusting. You already feel free to share too much more with them than you are with others, and they treat it like only a fraction of what you're telling them is true, um, or could be, or that all of it might not be. Like that's you know that's never in your best interest, and um, at least someone has a chance to listen to me this way. Someone has a chance to do the right thing with the truth. And, that's partly why I don't care if I'm believed. But it's more denial than disbelief on the part of my family. Um, like, my parents in particular, I could never tell them what others do to me. It's a, it's a really sick game. It is a sick, sorry game, but nobody in the world ever did anything wrong to me, is their attitude. Um, I'm the only one who does wrong. Um, and the rest about them is like this whole other side, and these whole other people, good people. But, that's something I'm never going to get rid of about them. Like, that part of them that I would say what I've said about them. Uh, but I give somebody a chance to listen to me here. I don't care who. Um, it's just, and I don't want to use my own life as an exhibit, to take away from the rest of the whites. Like what they're going through isn't a hell of a lot worse, I want to say, but uh, it's a different kind of worse where, uh, out here, it's like I've described out here. Um, yeah, let's not give it too much energy. I've only got a little time left. But, oh yeah, I I thought I'd reward myself if I shot a video. Uh, so I get to have another cigarette. I don't know if I want my drink though. Uh, Sometimes I'll have an energy drink before before going live. Not like not like lately, but sometimes just if I have one and I want to boost for it. And then I expect it to be lots of fun. That I'll do a lot of typing and emojing and yeah. But yeah, sorry, not sorry to put my disgusting ass life on display. Thought I'd made the video. This phone's doing all kinds of crap, like maybe it stopped. Um, there is a sensor release in that I did share my disgusting ass life. I just know it's not for nothing. This isn't my first rodeo staying somewhere I really ought not have to stay. It's just the first one with all whites, you know, carrying out the anti-white terrorism. Now, with the non-whites, there was a lot more playing with guns. I'm talking about blacks. My black pastood neighbors, there's more extremes they're willing to go to where you end up chasing one of them down to protect your people. Like, that's a true story I'd like to not get into, but no, this I don't know if I have time to tell the story even. This non-white, anti-white girl who was part of the anti-white tribunal terrorizing me where I last lived. And you know, like you can scare them back. That's the best you can do. Like you're gonna keep getting their shit. You're gonna keep hearing them through your windows, walls, and ceiling. I had one right upstairs who could stomp through my ceiling. I was in an apartment, and this girl right across from me, um, mm, had heard me refer to this white who was coming to, like, I don't want to make it that long of a story. Anyway, she called me a traitor. No, wait, she didn't call me a traitor. She had heard me refer to someone who had just been in there as a traitor and got steaming mad. A white who was going in there for her to see if I had a cigarette, and it was the same answer. I've got snipes, but you know, uh, I knew he was in on the anti-white tribunal. But anyway, kept she had made a bunch of anti-white threats. She kept screaming traitor outside and started running toward somebody's workplace. I knew where she was headed, and I ran after her with a sword, and, short sword in my waist, good and fast. And I expected she had a gun, and had thrown it into the vehicle where her friends were parked at this place where where I had chased her to. I She ran in front of this vehicle crossing the road, and of course stopped for her, honked, but I ran. I sprang off the back of the car, like threw my hands down on it and jumped onto the other side. But it was about there I not only had caught up with her, but she was no longer running. Uh, she was walking back towards me, and she pretended nothing was going on, but I'm sure she had thrown her gun in the. She has definitely threatened me with a gun. It was bad over there. But I was really willing to let her have it if she was going to see through her attack on one of my people. Um, like, she had her cousin attempt to rob me, and he banged on the door and said, "Open up." I said, "I'm not falling for that. I saw your mask through the window." Now, I didn't have a gun myself, but I do have a bow and arrows. But sometimes I was counting on my bow and arrows, sometimes, or my hands or my side daggers, knowing the other side is armed. Like, they'll go to more extremes than the whites, but